Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey watching 90 Day Fiancé. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. And like last time, my shirt kind of matches this a little bit. So I feel like it's festive. And let's get to the show.
I'm freaking out right now because this afternoon, Larissa was arrested again.
I have the same face as the cat. What? She was arrested again? Yikes. Oh, boy. Yeesh. I don't know why I don't know. It's just so disappointing. It's like, why would I think this was not going to happen? Of course, they didn't go to they did one session and talked about sex, which is fine, but they didn't go to therapy to talk about their conflict, really. So, this is really sad.
Today, Larissa and I had the house to ourselves. I thought it would be a good day. I thought we could hang out and have some fun, but that didn't happen. Larissa and I were fighting most of the day, and I think her fuse just blew up, and everything that was bothering her just came out at once. And Larissa locked herself in the bathroom, so I deactivated her phone, and she was just yelling and screaming and hitting me. I don't know who called the police, but Larissa posted my phone number online. She was saying that I took her phone off.
All right, so we're hearing a little bit of details from his side of the story, which I'm guessing Larissa would have a different side, that she locked herself in the bathroom. Okay, so why would she do that? I'm still waiting for some kind of assessment about the very general allegation that we were shown that she feels unsafe. There was this interview earlier in the season where she was asked to be interviewed outside of the house because she didn't want Colt or Debbie to be present during the interview. And I can't remember the exact wording, but she said she didn't feel safe in essence. And the producers, they're interviewing her. And she said, yeah, I don't feel safe. Debbie controls everything. The typical things that Larissa would say. But there was nothing that indicated that of actual safety issues, or at least it was talked about on a very surface level. As I said when I watched that video, what I would want to know from Larissa is, okay, I'm getting this sense that you don't feel safe. Tell me more. What's happening here? How can we get you to safety? What do we need to do to set up a support system so that you can feel safe? What needs to happen here? Do we need to get an advocate in here? What needs to happen? So that's just a huge, huge question mark, basically. And there's a wide variety of possibilities there. She says that she was locking herself in the bathroom. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean she was just trying to avoid him because she just didn't want to talk to him? Or did she feel unsafe and she felt like she couldn't go anywhere? Then we hear another detail. He turned off her phone. So that's a weird thing. He has that power? Because I don't have that power over my wife. I wouldn't want that power. Why would I want that power? To turn off my wife's phone. So he did that. Why would you do that? In what world would that be a good idea? Turn off your wife's phone. Now, if he said something like, she was flying off the handle, I thought that she was going to, I don't know, I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where that would be justified. I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm sure there is a very rare case where that would be justified. We didn't hear that from him. He says that he turned off her phone. Why would you do that? Then she posted something. Anyway, so that's what we're hearing. Lots of question marks. Pretty upsetting. Let's continue watching.
And she's in danger, and I guess people online called the police. Police knocked on the door, and Larissa and I were upstairs arguing. And when we finally came downstairs, there were 5 police officers at the door with their guns drawn. They kicked in the door. The door is damaged, both here and over there. And they grabbed me and pulled me outside and proceeded to handcuff me, read me my rights, search me. Essentially, I was a criminal at that point, even though I did nothing wrong.
Interesting. So let's just review what he just said. He said that she posted something online. Supposedly, people online called the police. 5 police officers showed up, guns drawn, handcuffed him, and then they took her away, which raises the question, that she brought up earlier, Larissa, that because she's a foreigner, she is assumed to be the criminal, and that because Colt and Colt has Debbie's support, that they're the white people who live, in Las Vegas, that the police officers will believe what they have to say. I could absolutely see that happening. I could also see other scenarios happening. Anyway, lots of question marks. Let's continue watching. This is upsetting to watch. Honestly, if I had a preference, I wouldn't watch stuff like this because I don't know what to say about it other than it's just extremely unfortunate. I'm going to be honest with you. The Colt and Larissa videos have been very stressful for me to watch because they seem, I guess as I've been watching these reality TV shows, because y'all have been asking me to, not that I'm blaming you for it, but, it's interesting. And some of the couples, when I'm watching them, I feel like we're kind of in the zone. There's stuff to comment on. It's not very toxic or not toxic at all. And there's things we can learn about ourselves, about other people. I feel like with this couple, it's just beyond a certain threshold. And if any couple would be the definition of toxic, it would be this couple, right? And once you get past that threshold, why are we watching this? And why is it even being filmed, How come there aren't multiple professionals on the ground involved with these people, right? It's one thing to have conflict and makeup and that sort of thing. It's another thing to just watch basically like damage, hardcore damage occurring to people. And I guess it's just kind of traumatic for me to watch. And maybe I need to take a break from this couple. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to do right now is just be honest. And two, maybe alert all of us. Do you have this reaction when you watch this couple? Am I alone? Am I a minority in this way? Because it doesn't feel good to watch this one. I'm trying to think of other couples like Erica and Stephanie. That was way below the toxic threshold to me. Erica and Stephanie seemed like, they definitely had their conflicts, right? But it didn't feel like this. Even like Lisa and Usman didn't feel like this, really. Rose and Ed didn't feel like this. So I'm just trying to think of all the couples we've watched. Paul and Karini seemed at times to kind of go in this direction. Darcy and Jesse kind of felt kind of toxic at times. I'm trying to remember. Darcy and Tom didn't feel like this to me anyway. Darcy and Georgie certainly didn't feel like this to me. Oh, the good old days of Darcy and Georgie. Anyway, let's continue watching.
After what seemed like a lifetime, they decided to unhandcuff me and proceeded to handcuff Larissa, and then they charged her with domestic battery and took her to jail.
The other thing about this, and I hate to be one of those people, is like, think about the children, but let's think about the children. There are 2 kids that probably have televisions and internet and can watch all the things unfold. I don't know. I mean, maybe the kids are too young to be able to have access to that, but there are other people involved, and you just want to say, hey, there are professionals that can help y'all with this to at least not have it get to this level. Anyway, let's continue watching.
She was angry, upset at me, but when she knew that she was going to jail, she started to cry. It broke my heart again. It's really hard for me to have to call my mother and tell her that Larissa's back in jail.
You called?
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
What's going on?
There are really so many questions that honestly, I don't know if I want the answers to at this point. But why was she the one that was taken into custody? Why wasn't he taken into custody? Why was she locking herself in the bathroom? Why did he turn off her phone? What was she posting on the internet that caused people to want to call the police? Why did the police arrive with their guns drawn? There's just a lot of questions here that we didn't get the answers to last time, honestly. They really just kind of glanced over it. And I guess it wouldn't really matter that much, honestly, because if we did get answers, it would probably just provoke more questions, I'm guessing. But there is a lot of gray area there that I just don't know what happened. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see if we find that information. Hey, deserving listeners, as you know, I'm constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. One of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp.com. So if you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to BetterHelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the /Kirk because you get 10% off your first month and it helps us out. I get a lot of emails from you saying that you're looking for a therapist. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, but I know it can be really hard to find a good one to work with. Like I said, one of the options available to try is BetterHelp.com/Kirk. And you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide, which is amazing. I've been told that you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message with your counselor anytime. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. And I've been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy. So go to BetterHelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month of therapy today.
Larissa was arrested again.
Oh my God. What happened?
Well, we were arguing and things escalated, and the police were called.
Who called the police?
I have no idea. They charged her with domestic battery.
Oh my God. Can you see her?
Not until her bail's been posted. Her case has to go in front of a judge tomorrow morning, I think.
So, from memory, she was told by the lawyer, who was told by the judge, that, I can't remember the exact phrase, but essentially, if anything happens in the next year, they're going to reopen that case. And so she's going to have that old case brought up now again as well. That even though she was acquitted or was suspended or whatever, now she's going to be facing 2 charges of assault, I think. So let's continue watching.
It's a waiting game now until her bail has been set.
I can't believe it's happening.
Neither can I.
I'm really worried, Colt. I don't know her anymore.
Maybe I didn't know her either. I really thought that since the trial was concluded, we could start over. And for a while we were happy. We laughed, we went to counseling, we did things, but I can see now that our relationship is not where I thought it was.
So I don't know, but from what they showed us, they went to 1 sex therapy session. They did not go to any more than that. As I always say, as with when Darcy went to what was seemingly just 1 session does not a therapy make. 1 session is a just get to know each other kind of thing. 10 sessions doesn't make therapy. It takes a long time, particularly the issues that they're working on. My goodness, we're talking years of therapy. No joke. I have couples who get along much better than this couple who have been in therapy with me for 6, 10 years and are still working on things. They've done a lot of great work and they've come a long way, but there's always more to work on. Every couple has its issues. I've worked with couples who have gone through stuff like this and they've succeeded in healing, where there is a humongous set of fights that result in the police eventually being called. One or both people end up being detained and there's a legal battle and there's a lot of resentment and negative feelings and trauma that a family goes through when that happens. And you can recover from that. But there has to be a lot of conversations and a lot of important, honest conversations about intimidation and violence and threat and escalation and intimidation and safety planning, crisis planning. When our conflict gets to this level, what do we do? And how do we de-escalate? Like, there's a whole system there. And I've worked with people on that. Not only on the practical side of how do we avoid escalating conflict to that point, but also how do we heal from that? I've had couples who have had an event like that where it just happened once, by the way, and 5 years later, we're still crying about it in therapy because of how traumatic it was for everyone. It's a really big moment in a couple's life. I mean, just imagine. Some of you have probably been through that, where the police have to get called, you and or your spouse end up being detained. And then there's a legal battle, there's, just all the stuff. It's traumatic for everyone. It makes sense that it would be very, big moment. And there's just a lot that you got to sift through. And you can't just say, you know what, let's put it behind us. No, I don't think that has ever happened in the history of humans. Oh, you know what? Let's let bygones be bygones and let's just try to forget it. I don't think that that's possible. As I've been saying from the beginning, if you fall down the stairs and you break your arm, you go to the physician, you get help. They assess you and they treat your broken bone. You go back for checkups. When you have a situation like this, you go to a couples therapist weekly, if not twice a week, to heal, to talk about conflict, talk about de-escalation, talk about trauma, talk about how you're triggering each other, talk about safety. And they never do that on this show, which is, I just want to say that they can make that choice, but you can make a different choice. And many of you have, and it is one of the most glorious emails or comments below that I can get is, I'm in therapy, or because of your show, it inspired me to go to therapy. And I always thought I should go, but you were the last, straw on the camel's back, and it made me go. Now, it might take a few therapists to find the right one. Sometimes the first therapist you find isn't the right one. I've gone to therapy before and been like, after 5 sessions, I've been like, ugh, I don't like this guy. I thought I liked him at first, but I don't think he's really listening to me. So sometimes it takes a while, but y'all deserve to have a therapist. We can look at them and see that the train wreck just continues to crash. The train wreck happened last season. It's continuing to crash, slow motion style over time. They could have stopped the crash if they had gone to therapy a long time ago. We can all recognize that, right? Well, that applies to us as well. When the train starts to go off the rails, there's a way to get it back on the rails, and it's called therapy. But you got to find the right therapist. Now, sometimes people ask me, what sort of therapist should I find? It's such a complicated thing. The best thing I can tell you is just call a therapist and say, I have this problem. Can you help me with that? Hear their response and make a determination on that response that you get from them. Does it inspire confidence in you that they can help you with your issue? A lot of times people ask me, what code word should I look for? That's a hard thing to answer because some therapists will use code words that mean something different to them. The word attachment-oriented therapist, for example, that can mean a lot of different things, and you really don't know what that means until you actually interface with them. So you interface, they call me or email them, I have this problem, how would you help me with that? Then you try them out for a few sessions. It's a probationary time, and you see, at the end of those 3 sessions, do I feel like this is going in the right direction? Do I feel like they're addressing my issues well? Do I feel like I'm safe with this person? Do they feel like they understand me? And if yes, then continue. If no, then maybe try someone else. That's the best I can tell you. And I know it would be better if I could say, you know what, you need to go to this thing, you need to do that. And there are some general things, but honestly, I don't have the manpower to be able to advise everyone on all those specifics. Plus, it's a bit of an ethical issue for me to do that over email with people that I don't know that well. But anyway, the point is that I'm sorry that my industry, even in the United States, is terrible at, 1, providing access, and 2, making it easy for you to know where to go. When I break my foot, when I did break my foot when I was a kid, my parents just called our family doctor and said, Kirk broke his foot or hurt his foot. Where do we go? And then they said, well, there's this foot doctor, and here's the phone number. Call him. Well, it should be that easy, right? But in my field, it's so complicated. It's just such a weird, convoluted field that it's a lot of trial and error, but you got to believe. You got to believe that the right therapist is out there for you. And some of you out there who have found the right therapist. Maybe comment below. Tell us your story about how you found the right therapist. What is it about that person that feels right to you? And maybe you can inspire, maybe your comment can inspire someone else to find another therapist, to find a therapist that will fit for them. Because there are a lot of people watching this video right now who gave up a long time ago. Maybe they tried one therapist, maybe they tried 4 therapists, and they're just like, ugh, all therapy is bad. It's never going to work for me. And maybe your story can inspire someone to find. Maybe even if you live in the same town, you can word of mouth connect this other person with your therapist, and they could try. Does anyone know and anyone in Cincinnati that works on this issue? Anyway, point is we can watch them and see what happens when you avoid therapy. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Let me know what you think in the comments, and everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.